Hi. Are we ready to go? So tonight, we're with the City of Westminster Historic District Commission, Wednesday, December 4th at 6 p.m. at City Hall in downtown Westminster at Emerald Lane. I'm going to call us to order with a statement of authority. The Westminster Historic District Commission derives its authority from Chapter 164, Article 9A of the City Code, which is authorized by the Maryland Code Annotated Land Use Article Division 1, Single Jurisdiction Planning and Zoning, Title 8, Historic Preservation. The qualifications of the Westminster Historic District Commission are on file at the City Administration Building, 45 West Main Street. The file is open to the public, and I'll ask for a quick roll call beginning to my left.
Chris Amadori, Vice Chair.
Debbie Baby.
And Christy McMaster's chair. Alrighty, have you guys had a chance to take a look at the November minutes?
Yes.
And are there any questions or concerns? Should we make a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second. No problems, no issues, nothing? All right. Well, all in favor? There's none opposed, so thank you very much. Melissa, I appreciate it. I'll sign this up, please.
You'll sign it in February,
Oh, okay.
but the most important part has been accomplished, so thank you.
It is accomplished, thank you. It looks like we have no business.
Oh man, I'm sorry, we do have business. I would like to make an amendment to the agenda and share that this is not the correct edition. I printed this out before we had a late edition. I was trying to be prepared. We will discuss one item of business, if that's okay with you, Chair.
Yes, it is.
Okay. 30 Carroll Street has a new building development proposed for the Shepherd staff. The document is in front of you tonight. It's a ledger-sized paper, and there's 4 pages to show us the site plan as well as the elevations, which are on page 3 and 4. So tonight, where you all might remember, we had met with 30 Carroll Street and the Shepherd staff about the demolition of the building, and that has already happened. So we are now in the next step in the process, and the planning commission is the next step after HDC. So tonight we're looking for your comments and a recommendation to the planning commission to proceed. Is that correct, Mark?
Yes.
Okay.
For the elevations, do you have any
Elevations only, that's correct.
comments or concerns regarding the elevations?
And tonight we have 2 representatives, Randy Bechtel and Brenda Meadows. And I do apologize again for the late addition. If you have any questions.
I did see it in time to take a quick review of it, so I want to thank you for getting it out as quickly as you could. Do our commissioners have any questions?
No questions. I was curious what the siding is going to be made of.
Vinyl.
And that's in replacement of the previous vinyl that was up.
So I do have a question. I was wondering do we have a photo of the original structure that we could compare this to that?
This evening, I will have to see if I can pull something out.
This is wired by 1 bay.
So I was looking at it today and I don't remember what it.
It essentially looks like this, only it's wired by 1 bay. And then of course the porch. And then of course it's much, much, much deeper than it ever was historically.
Yeah, it looks from the front of the building, should look like
Very similar.
Yeah, that would be my.
And can you tell us what the roofing material is?
What Dean says here is a roofing material.
Do we have a photo? I mean, what if we have a historical photo of before they did that? Like, that's my question.
before they did what that.
Before they, yeah, where it was from there, yeah.
Actually, it looks about the same width. I thought there was an additional,
There's
The
some-
width should be the
Yeah, the
same.
width is the same. It's
yeah,
much
and there is
deeper.
a door there.
Yeah, it's just deeper.
It's not on
But that's the only
the,
house, Christine, that's been on
Okay,
it.
but I mean,
Since,
they covered it, okay.
since about 1919, we figured when the historic inventory I had done here, when we reviewed that earlier.
But I meant like it's been re-sided, that's all I'm saying, is I
Yeah.
wonder if there was a photo of it before it was,
Excited.
yeah,
Oh, I
that
can't-
kind of color and all that, that's all.
It's the same, we built that building in 1989. It looks the same exterior today as it did in 89.
Oh, you put the facade on in '89, you
And
said,
then Great Lutheran Church purchased the building.
oh, purchase it.
1989. But Dean says it's a tight lock plus system, smooth panel, fabricated from 0.04 aluminum sheet metal and K-NAR 500 coating.
It's another metal roof.
It's basically a standing seam roof is what
Standing
that
seam
really
roof.
means.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
That's what it's depicted as.
yeah, and that's basically what that means. K-NAR 500 coating. The colors, my understanding from Dean, the colors are going to remain basically the same as a white and beige.
Parking lot remains essentially the same from what I can tell.
Parking lot remains the same. We have a lease, Shepherd Staff has an addendum to their lease with Grace Lutheran Church for the parking.
And it looks to me, that the facade is going to remain essentially along the street at the same depth that it was historically. The sited
Depth from the street,
facade. Depth from the street.
yes,
It's not closer, it's not way far back, it's essentially,
it's essentially the same as where the front of the building is essentially the same as today is what we have proposed.
and when I say essentially the same, that's like within a couple feet, you know,
Yes.
I'm sure. You might wanna avoid those old foundations, but you know, there's essentially, you've seen plans that sometimes are way close to the street and it already use every square foot. And then some plans where for some reason it gets way set off, which is a real waste and it breaks up that side of the street. And there is sort of a standard depth of the center line of the street for some of these, not standard, but close-ish.
You bring up the foundation, and that's one of the real issues with the current building. Has crumbling, it's built of more like a shale stone, and it's crumbled away, and the price to put a new foundation under was astronomical.
Wow. Is that Shepherd Staff? Where'd all that green go?
design. I know, I was wondering what year this was pulling.
That's a current picture,
This is
that's
the
a very
current one.
current picture. We had when we had that major windstorm. And a number of the old maple trees that were really close to the building had the tops out of them hanging in the trees. I hired a licensed forester to evaluate the trees to see if they were worth keeping. There was one tree on the property that he said that, you know, everything else was in such poor condition. Every Sunday at church, everybody said, when's those trees coming down? Somebody's going to get hit in the head with the log. I said, well, there's a process and procedure. So we had an inventory of the trees and report done by a licensed professional forester, and he said, take them down except for. And really a hazard. Now there'll be trees returned to the site
So your landscape, but.
for a landscape plan, yeah.
So I don't know if it's, I'm gonna call it gingerbread along with this, there's this, along the roof line. The little gingerbread, I mean, is that something that you can add easily to that? You know,
Yeah,
I mean, that's not too much of an ask, is it? I mean, since it exists, and it was probably original to the house,
yeah.
yeah. It's gotta be a way, it doesn't look too terribly ornate, that would be too hard to duplicate.
Certainly the
It's called
neighbor
dental
has the
molding. It's
same.
what they call that in a dental molding.
Dental, is that
Yes,
the
dental molding,
Yeah.
and that's same, dental cornicing.
Yeah, I was gonna say next door too. That would look nice.
Yeah,
Actually, I, that would be my preference. Yeah,
Give it a little bit of
Feel okay.
I feel like I'm.
No, it's institutionalized.
Then
Great idea if you guys are willing to do that. I think that would be good. Give it a little zhuzh. Which is appropriate, really. For the time period, not just gratuitously. Okay, anything else from our keen-eyed commissioner? Do I hear a motion?
So if they're willing to add the rental molding, do we need to add an event?
I think what we can do is make a recommendation that the Board of Zoning accept this plan with the addition of, hopefully on the back, matching dental molding along your upper
It's
part.
actually done, but
Planning Commission, not Board of Zoning.
Yeah, it's planning commission.
Planning Commission.
We'll have it added to the plan. We'll tell Dean we just need the details.
That'd be great. That would be a conditional recommendation.
yeah, I think we'd like to recommend that they try to match that molding. I mean, it looks like it still exists on the adjacent property, so it should be pretty easy to find out
It
exactly
should have
what it
been
is.
captured in the historic structures report.
This will be a little larger at their current code. The building codes, we have to have larger windows, so that will be a little bit of a difference, but we'll have the front porch and try to maintain what it looks like.
Fantastic. All right. So no other conditionals? Hearing none, did I get a second on the motion? Thank you, you seconded. And all in favor? Thank you very much. It passes. And best of luck. If you need any advice or any additional information from us, we're always here to be helpful.
What about a page? On the top, it's utilities. That's not there.
No.
I don't think we need to.
That would be okay. Okay, well, I just thought I'd ask.
Slowly rolling here with that. Right there. You have an opportunity to contribute.
Since the price tag went up with the.
I thought I saw it done.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Well, so this is passed and thank you very much. Nothing else under your business?
that's
Ms.
correct.
Morris?
With that.
Just leave them.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Informational. Mark's the only one who's going to demand to contribute.
Yeah.
All right, so if there's nothing else, then we move on to old business.
Very good, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Best of luck. Well, for this evening, we have a no old business listed. We can move right along to Historic District Commission Implementation
Thank you.
Plan. How are we doing with our RFP?
I am sorry to disappoint you. Yeah, it's been an extremely busy time in our department, but things are moving up and it's getting really close, so I hate to just make promises and not be able to keep them, so I won't say anything specific, other than it is a priority, and I apologize that it's not on the desks that it needs to be at. The good news is that MHT is ready for us to just go forward with it, but I'm sorry.
But we have an agreement on our terms and conditions and on our RFP. Is that correct?
Yes.
I just found out that somebody I had hoped might bid on it seems to be becoming more and more available.
Oh.
So this delay may allow us to have one more really good project.
Okay.
So let me know before or when it's ready to go out.
As soon as I get confirmation that we're ready to advertise, when I send out the notices, maybe Diane in our finance office handles that, but I'll be sure to email you guys.
Right.
And with the good news.
Right, I don't want any secrets, but when it goes out for advertising, I can forward it off to my friend.
Absolutely, yeah, we need to do that. Yep.
Okay, good deal. All right, 250th, ongoing. Let's take a look. How are we doing, Mark, with the signs?
Which one?
Road signs.
Not very much. No, we haven't done much with that. I'm sorry.
Okay. Are we stuck on historic district entrance signs?
Can I ask you a question about the road signs?
Sure.
Did you compile the street signs that need to be changed? Like, do we have that compilation? Because I think that project could be fairly simple.
Mhm.
Streets is gonna need which ones are we updating? How many and which ones?
Mhm.
I don't believe we have that yet.
I think it would just be within the limits of the historic district. So any street signs that are currently up, we just have to give them the limits of the historic district. So my guess is you have your Green Street signs, Winter Street, Main Street, Winter's Alley, but
Pennsylvania Avenue.
Pennsylvania, yeah, so it'll just be that defined.
And then all those little stinking crosses.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit. Our district is pretty large.
Is there a way that can be derived from GIS?
I say, why not? They've always been very receptive, when we, request. We can try.
We can ask IT and GIS department if they could
What's the
provide
chance
us,
of that?
That's the best idea of the
Yeah.
century.
But they could probably come up with like South Street.
I think it's feasible.
Lincoln Street. and all
I think
those
they could
things.
actually locate specifically where the signs are on a map, so we can have a clear direction for public works. It's a good idea.
Hey, those GIS guys are pretty smart.
Yes, they are.
Okay. Historic district entrance signs.
All right, so last time we had discussed this several months back, we had agreed on, which sign that we liked, kind of to mimic. I had showed you 3 of them. It was like Goldilocks, except not with temperature. I mean, one was with different things. One was too many words, one was too few words.
Right.
So we went with the one in the middle, the just right one.
Yes.
So, the design is what we're missing. And then Mark and I were discussing the material and had a difference in opinion. And I think Mark has won me over. So we at least are moving forward in that direction.
I hope so. Thank you.
So really, we can just go do it. Would you like us to come back with the design, the final, before we do it?
That would be great,
Okay,
just so we can take a
before
quick
we
peek
purchase.
before you get too completely committed. Would be nice to just be on the loop.
I'm gonna schedule that for the February meeting on the agenda. Well, it's
Or
already-
either that or you could do it by email.
Okay,
If there's a reason to move ahead quicker. Grace tonight, so I haven't heard anything from her about the commemorative plaques. We do have a logo, but I haven't heard anything about plaques from her. Okay. Commemorative sign in Belgrove Square. The big announcement is the DAR did get its funding for that.
Great.
From the heart of the Civil War heritage area. The letter that Mark wrote, or somebody did, supporting this efforts of the city staff to help us with the sign part and the installation part was really important. And we didn't get top of the list, but we did pretty good for Carroll County. I think we got tippy top in Carroll County, but we did not get tippy top in the whole heritage area. That kind of fell towards the middle. As a matter of fact, I was a little nervous because I thought, are we gonna make it? But the good news this year for the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area is they had a couple of grants last year that, people who are asking for grant money sometimes are very small organizations. The William Winchester DAR is also a very small organization, and sometimes they ask for stuff and get it awarded, and then they just don't have the capacity to follow through and actually do the project. And so last year, there was a couple of small organizations that just actually called and said, we want to do this, but the time isn't right, the people aren't here, you just can't. So this year, they had more than the $25,000 to allot. And so we had an even better chance, which is great. We got the full $3,300 we asked for. They always say to you, if you could take less, what less would that be? And that's a tough game because, you might get it because somebody doesn't like it, but somebody else does, and it's the compromise, award. And we had a compromise position of 2,400. We could have gotten a smaller sign for 2,400, but we wanted the whole enchilada. We wanted the nice big sign. And so that happened. And then in November at the DAR meeting, we just found out this week, just a couple days ago, actually, when I came back from Florida, that we got the grant. The DAR chapter itself went ahead and committed funds towards this project that they had from a different project. They recommitted some funds. So they only have about $800 to come up with. And maybe we can pass the hat at some meeting and see what happens there. So on their end, they've already started moving, and I think this can all fall together very, very quickly. We have to do, just like Melissa's gone through, sign terms and conditions. And we have to front some of the money so that we purchase this sign. But I really expect everything to go pretty well. We also have another piece of the puzzle. We have to ask the national ladies if they'll give us $500, because there's a little nook of money for each chapter for $500 for 250 activities. So we'll do that. So maybe this is an extreme hope that we could possibly have this all ready for May, and this could be sort of a May preservation activity, where we could do an unveiling or something. I mean, to me, that would be great. It's a preservation month, and, have it covered in plastic, pull the plastic down for some unveiling. It might be fun.
Tie it in with Memorial.
Tie it in with Memorial Day, or better, Jazz and Flower Festival. Maybe there's something we can do there. Get a lot of people anyway. May's a big month. It's fun month. Even we could do it in April, so we're getting ready for Preservation Month. Anyway, that's great news for me. All right. Do we have any more news on downtown preparations? Chris?
No.
250th proclamation for the month of May. We'll get that going for sure, especially with this.
One comment on downtown preparations, I'm just putting a placeholder in all of our minds to Mark specifically too, and perhaps council, for budget season. So thinking this would be the year. We're getting ready to start all of that. I have attention over there. I'm hopeful that we can help or have a program we can discuss to create this beautiful patriotic city center here downtown, so that by the 2026, like maybe from Memorial Day through Veterans Day, we can have the pennant banners and like the ginormous, like to fit these large scale multi-story buildings, sort of like you see in the old historic pictures.
Absolutely.
So maybe we can do some research and find those and sort of match them on the buildings that they were already on. But we're gonna need some budget to do it.
Yeah,
Or
but
grant
money. Cool to do a then and now kind of, centennial and 250th images side by side.
Say that one more time.
So
It's distracting.
there's a centennial pictures of town. It would be fun to do a then and now picture,
It
Or
would
put the
be.
then picture on the building, maybe just temporarily or something like that, so would that bucket of money also be, because we had discussed for downtown, perhaps buying, if stores wanted to buy like new storefront, new awnings or paint, their facade and that kind of like, things like that to spruce it up? Does that include
I
that?
feel like this could be a good grant opportunity. I'm looking at you, Chris, because you've been in this world for this last few. Maybe we just need to put together a proposal that we can submit to this national, so on the Maryland 250 Commission website, they have a whole host of those grants.
Yep.
The federal, the state, and the private.
Chesapeake Gateways has one. There's another one out there I know of right now off the top of my head. Let's see if I can
But
call it up on my
and
phone.
perhaps that could be part of it, the
Then the big,
sprucing up incentive.
the big Maryland Heritage Area grants are,
Usually the intent to apply is in January and the grant submissions are in March.
March 1. Chesapeake Gateway Grants, People's Bicentennial Commission, MJ. That is MJ. People's Bicentennial Commission. Those are two that I know of. And then the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area is coming up. But, you know, those are best done in January. Then you give them a couple weeks to look them over. Then you submit them March 1. So it'd have to be something we should have a really clear concept of.
How soon do you think we could have access to the centennial pictures?
They're floating around out there. Centennial celebrations, I've seen them like in the paper and stuff.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna have to deal with the historical society and them. Although Kevin Dayoff has a phenomenal collection of photographs, so he might have this stuff to work with us.
We could just ask, we could say, here are the addresses, you know, that we need, and
You can also take a look at the Carroll County then in the book that we produced with Arcadia a few years ago. That might give you some idea of what's available.
That would be good too. Good too.
I know when the city did its anniversary a few years ago and we produced an exhibit that was in this building. And it's when they did the walking tours and they actually were talking about trying to do a phone app. So that as you stood in front of the modern building, you could see the historic picture right on your phone so that we didn't have to produce everything in print.
So we actually had that grant through the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area.
Oh, yeah,
We were awarded that at the Historical Society.
Yeah, we were gonna do
But
that.
because of COVID, we had to liquidate the funds to keep ourselves
Right,
alive.
but that was one of the things the city wanted to do was to have that technology so that you didn't have to. People didn't have to make sure they got to the visitor center to pick up the paper map. It could all be a phone app, and as they walked around the city, they could see the modern building, hold your phone up, see the modern building, and it would morph to the historic image.
So that was built into our
That was part of what the city did for, what was it, the 250th?
250th, but that, I built that into the last grant for the implementation
Right,
plan.
of we were gonna do the Civil War walking tours for the Historical Society, so.
But that's funded already through the HDC implementation plan, the one that's going out. Just have to make sure we get that as a product. Question is, will we get the product back fast enough for the 250th?
You should be able to, I mean, there's more and more of that technology already out there that you're not having to reinvent the wheel and develop your own software.
You know, Chris, I know I'm freeballing here, but those guys at Magic talked to me a little bit about doing phone apps.
Oh.
And they have students who might be able to create something like this quickly as a matter of.
they're 14 years old to be able to do it with us.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, they usually have paid internships. But we should talk about perhaps we could do quick, you know, collab with them and the downtown businesses. Because that's who it benefits, right?
Mhm.
Businesses.
Yeah, you might find that some of the businesses would sponsor their building being part of it or something, you know.
All right, Chris, we'll talk off table. All right, Liberty Tree plaque, anything about that?
No motion forward on that. We did have, I had reached out for some quotes and they're like, are you doing it? I said, it's on the back burner. Although I should say, we're getting closer, we're not at 2026 yet, we're not there. There's still plenty of time,
Maybe
to
we
make
could
it
get that
better.
in May too.
Or when's Arbor Day?
Yeah.
Or is that something we wanna do as a part of the 2026 celebration, and it's like part of the ceremonies that we do?
Absolutely.
Maybe because by then you also have a couple years to grow
It'll look-
and it'll look like a tree.
It's very cute right now,
The thing is, it's not going anywhere.
exactly.
We could schedule it in as we please. Alrighty, Melissa, did you go to the 250th planning session today?
I did.
How did it go?
It was wonderful. Did you see this? I brought back.
Is that what this is? Okay.
This is programming that, let's see, what is this? The task force under the committee, it has been working on, and it's already begun. So the programming has been scheduled throughout, I believe, the end of 2025, just about. And this is really just gearing up to the 2026. We actually I sat next to Michelle Johnson
Really?
at the table, so that was kind of an honor, you know.
Yeah, she's
Our
the state
local
coordinator.
State coordinator, and if you wouldn't mind, I could give you a briefing on it.
Please do, this is the time.
Sure, so Michelle Johnson, Jason Alari, started us off, and Michelle gave a presentation that you may have kind of heard already. It was probably slightly variated with updates on what the Maryland 250 Commission is doing. She kind of detailed all of the diverse groups that are part of this. The State Arts Council, ethnic commissions, the state has ethnic commissions and they have representation on it. They meet in person 3 times a year. And she said 2 times, make sure to read executive order. So we'll have to remind ourselves of that. The 3 themes are history, civics, and service. So that's what the state's trying to guide us into. And she spoke about this is for everyone. It's for the indigenous communities, free and enslaved Africans, new Americans, young and old Americans, and stress the importance of creating engaging experiences with the community. As we know, there's America 250 grants. She said they are listed federal, state, and private. She described the project, the Maryland Mosaic, that they're working on. And Carroll County's project, as a part of this Maryland Mosaic, the only project we have is the rural free delivery system, which is right here in the heart of Westminster. So that's the representation that Carroll County is getting in this Maryland Mosaic, which is wonderful. So I wanted to look into that more to see what it was and how we could promote it or support that.
So actually, I'm on Bert Kummero's regular email newsletter list for that. It's 400 years of Maryland
For
history,
Maryland.
just Maryland history. And he's gotten buy-in from all 13 heritage areas. And so, there's funding there, and it's really a general promotion of history tagged to the 250th, but expected to sort of live on. So,
And that's what she stressed. If you're already doing something, tack on the 250 is essentially what she said, if it relates to one of the 3 themes of civic, service, and history. The cool idea is that I thought, so they are working, not funded yet, not partnered yet, to try and get baseball partnerships. So working with the minor league teams and the major league team, the Orioles. So stay tuned, they're working on that to try and make a national splash. And they're trying to develop a video game, which she didn't go into detail, but other than it would be free. I love that. Like, that's really thinking outside of the box, in my opinion. She's hoping to convene the state historical societies, which apparently used to happen and hasn't happened in a while. Round 2 of America 250, America's Field Trip is coming up. And out of, I forget the number, but out of the national number, it was under 100 winners, I think, or 150, but 3 of them came from Carroll County.
wow,
Really
for
impressive.
National History Day.
They had to write an essay, and they're each getting a trip to go to a national park that they choose.
That's a whole different competition.
Whole
Didn't
different
know that.
competition. This is different. So there's gonna be, it's for grades 3 through 12.
What wonder how they even find out about stuff like this, because we don't even have a national park that close to us.
Well, Ryan, I forget his last name, it was.
Melhorn.
Thank you, Ryan Melhorn has been pushing it as far as.
Wonderful.
So that's exciting. They have a monthly newsletter. They said if any of us are looking to co-brand on an event or an initiative, to just let them know.
Great.
Because chances are, after a conversation, it will probably be likely. Let me see. She discussed a resolution that they're coming up with.
Mhm.
We have done our proclamation already. Not sure, maybe as we get closer, we'll want to do another resolution.
I think we're gonna wanna do some proclamations every stinking year,
Okay,
because they are free.
okay. It's good
It's the
to,
right, it's the right price,
Right.
and I think it's great because I think gives us a chance to speak to our folks at home and say, look, this is how history's happening.
and I got to detail some of these projects. And afterwards, she was just so happy. She gave like 2 thumbs up. She took copious notes. So we're doing good. And that's what you've been saying this whole time.
Yeah, we are doing really good.
Good to
Well,
know.
I'm thinking other places might be catching up.
Yeah, well, we hope they do.
We look at this, to be a big thing that we're all hooked into. Great, well, thank you. Is there anything else for the good of the topic of the 250th? All right, hearing nothing, then we'll call that topic closed, and we've got some wins. That's good. All right, so let's move on then to comments from District Commission, then we move on to staff and public. Anything new? Comment? Nothing new? I feel like a million things have happened recently, but I don't have anything to report this minute. Undoubtedly, Melissa will say something and then I'll chime in, but go ahead, Melissa.
So funny, I feel like I've been saying an awful lot. If you are out and about this week, please shop local. We have passports, we have an elf named Downtown Darren, who's based off of a real person, the Small Business Development Center. He's a free resource for our business community. You could win a $50 gift card.
Whoa,
So we're excited to keep promoting that, and then we're gonna draw the winners on next Friday.
Downtown Darren.
Yeah.
I like
Do you
that.
know Darren Payton?
I do not.
Okay, well,
So now I'm going to look for him.
yes.
Good. Okay, Mr. Depot, do you have anything to share?
I do not.
Mr. Public, do you have anything to share? Nothing from the public? All right, well, with that, I'm gonna wish everybody a real happy holiday. We're not scheduled for a meeting in January. However, one could always happen in my absence with the sure leadership of Chris as vice chair. And we'll see you all again in March. Thank you very much. February.